It says we are live streaming. I'll just check. Okay, wonderful. We are live and धीरे धीरे लोग जुड़ेंगे. सबका स्वागत है. Welcome everyone. Welcome to Karwaan. This is Ishan Sharma and I'm with Chandni Jaswal as part of our core team. We are starting the stream in a few moments. जरा लोगों को आने देते हैं, उसके बाद हम शुरू करेंगे. और आज कई सारे मुद्दों पे बात होगी. आज कई सारे इंटरेस्टिंग थीम्स पे बात होगी. We'll discuss some amazing themes, some wonderful young cool themes in this conversation, themes that I am not very well aware of. I have seen some films of those themes. I've read a book, one part of the book, and there's so much more to this conversation today. And we will be joined by another guest on this stream, one of our core team member, and you'll get to meet her also in this stream. So we are waiting for people to join in. Let people join in, then we shall start. और चांदनी, आप कैसी हैं?
I'm good, Ishan. How are you? How's the weather in Kanpur?
बहुत ठंड है. कानपुर में बहुत ठंड है और बड़ी मुश्किल से रजाई से निकल के इधर बैठने की हिम्मत जुटाई है, क्योंकि मन नहीं कर रहा था. पूरे पूरे दोपहर शाम तक आई वॉज इन माई बेड, आराम कर रहा था, क्योंकि इतनी ठंडे बाहर निकलने का मन नहीं करता है. आप बताएं, चंडीगढ़ के क्या हाल है?
आज better था. We had a bit of a sun today, so it was good today. But बहुत ठंड है, and I think इसी कारण the virus has also been spreading. So let's advise and caution our viewers to please take care of themselves and stay inside as much as possible.
और also the coronavirus is spreading like forest fire. जैसे एक जंगल में आग लगती है कि वो रुक नहीं सकती, वो बहुत मुश्किल है से रोकना.
बिल्कुल
कुछ ऐसे हालात हो गए हैं. एंड आई नो मेनी पीपल हु आर इन्फेक्टेड नाउ. सो भाई, आप लोग बाहर ना निकलें. अगर निकल रहे हैं, इफ इट इज नेसेसरी, बिकॉज being inside your house is a you know, it's a privilege, or it's not for everybody. हर कोई नहीं रुक सकता घर में. ये बहुत ही एक प्रिविलेज की बात है कि आप घर पे रुक पाते हैं. लेकिन अगर आप बाहर जा रहे हैं किसी कारण से, तो मेक श्योर यू आर डबल मास्क्ड. 2 मास्क पहनिए. एक जो सर्जिकल मास्क होता है उसके ऊपर N95. आई थिंक दैट इज द वे यू शुड यूज द मास्क. यूज सैनिटाइजर्स, मेंटेन सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग. ये 3 बेसिक. और हाथ आप हमेशा साबुन से 1 मिनट लगा के, जो टीवी पे दिखाया जाता है उस हिसाब से.
बट आई थिंक ईशान, बहुत शुक्र की बात ये है कि व्हाट आई हर्ड इज दैट जो अब वायरस का जो स्प्रेड हो रहा है वो बहुत ज्यादा डेंजरस या हार्मफुल नहीं है. सो होपफुली इट इज नॉट एज डेडली एज द प्रीवियस वेरिएंट वाज. सो ये एक, if you know, as relativity goes, this is the only positive that I could find, is that ये इतना ज़्यादा वो नहीं है. But yes, like you said, prevention is better than cure. तो
वेरी ट्रू. और आज जो तारीख है 21 तारीख, इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू Indian history in some senses. Let's come to that because people are starting to join us.
Great.
So welcome everyone. आज की तारीख 21 तारीख को three states were formed in India in 1972. Meghalaya, Tripura and Manipur, they were formed today on 21st Jan 1972. And also Congress won for the first time in the very first elections in 1952 on 21st January. The results were out today, and you know, we got Jawaharlal Nehru, the very visionary first Prime Minister of India in 1952. Then उसके बाद एक बहुत ही बड़ा कारवान चला जिसमें IITs बने और एटॉमिक पावर भारत में मिली. और एग्रीकल्चर के फील्ड में there was some dam projects, Bhakra Nangal Dam and other dams were made under the leadership of first Prime Minister of India, whose legacy is largely contested today. But you know, we can't really just ignore what he did for the nation. इसके अलावा आज वाइको मोहम्मद बशीर की बर्थ एनिवर्सरी है और राष्ट्र बिहारी बोस की डेथ एनिवर्सरी है. हम दोनों की बातें करेंगे. बट लेट्स स्टार्ट विद बशीर, क्योंकि ही इज वन ऑफ द मोस्ट प्रोमिनेंट मलयाली राइटर दैट आई नो. एंड इंटरेस्टिंगली पिछले साल जब लॉकडाउन था, he became the most in Kerala, he became the most searched person on Google, you know.
That's
Second,
interesting. And क्यों नहीं पता चलेगा?
because he's very popular, you know.
I can understand.
He's very popular in Kerala and in other parts of the southern India, or followed by coronavirus. And in Marathi, the search was highly searched was Shivaji, Maharaj Shivaji, and I think there was another, but I forgot. But yeah, why Bashir was among the top searched individuals last year. और बशीर की कई कहानियां ऐसी हैं जो उनके रियल लाइफ से इंस्पायर्ड थी. और जो, क्योंकि उनका जो लाइफ है इट वाज वेरी रेवोल्यूशनरी एक समय, और ही वाज नोन एज द किंग ऑफ डिसगाइसेस. ही वाज पार्ट ऑफ द इंडियन फ्रीडम स्ट्रगल फॉर वेरी लॉन्ग टाइम. ही वाज बोर्न इन 1908, you know, and he met Mahatma Gandhi when Mahatma Gandhi was leading the Vaikom Satyagrah in Vaikom in Kerala. और उनका नाम में जो वाइकॉम है स्टार्टिंग में, दैट्स बिकॉज ऑफ हिज दैट विलेज, दैट सिटी फ्रॉम वेयर ही हेल्ड. तो मैं अभी जब हम बात कर रहे थे, तुमने बताया कि तुमने भी उनकी एक स्टोरी पढ़ी है.
Yes, exactly. When you said कि he was one among the most searched people, that is the sheer coincidence, because last year हमारे syllabus में भी इनकी एक story थी. And I apologize, I can't take the original name, so I'll take the English translation. It's called The Cart Sharper's Daughter. ये हमारे syllabus में story थी. And he immediately, when we read his work in class, he immediately struck me, Ishan, because colloquialism जो है उनकी writing style में, वो बहुत prominent है. और जैसे तुम बता रहे हो that he is a political personality. So what one can say is that the way he writes could be in response to his political personality or political agenda, because he wanted, he was a political person, so he wanted his agenda to be forwarded. तो इनका writing बहुत ही मजेदार है, very humorous and dry humor है. So जो story मैंने पढ़ी थी, हम सुनने में आया है that it's an autobiographical fiction, Cart Sharper's Daughter. तो बहुत मजेदार story है. It's a battle of wits between a man who's into trickery and a stupid person who beats this man. अब मैं story reveal नहीं करूंगी, but how he does it is how this stupid man beats this trickster is what the story is about. And जैसे तुम कह रहे हो कि ये जुड़े हुए थे इंडिपेंडेंस मूवमेंट के साथ, एंड कहते हैं कि he was in such a disturbed state towards the end of his life that he had these bouts of mental illness. तो इनकी लाइफ, बशीर की बात हम कर रहे हैं on his anniversary. So yes, he is one of the less discussed people, and his works are one of the less discussed topics, but he is important to us both when it comes to literature as well as politics. So good, we could discuss him today.
Honey, the problem is it might be people might not agree, but the problem here is कि हम regional writers को वैसे भी ज्यादा discuss नहीं करते national level पे. तो we are not very we are not very comfortable with reading translations, और कई सारी कहानियों की तो translation भी मौजूद नहीं है. So it becomes very difficult to discover these gems. And Bashir, though, because I watched his film, there is a film by Adur Gopalakrishnan. I interviewed Adur Gopalakrishnan on Karwaan, so those who are watching us must watch that, because he talked about Bashir in that interview. So there is a story which was written by Bashir called Prem Lekhanam. तो प्रेम लेखनम की स्टोरी ये है कि there's a high caste male who writes a love letter to a Christian girl. So that's the story, that's the plot of Prem Lekhanam. इसके ऊपर बेस करके अदूर गोपालकृष्णन ने एक फिल्म बनाई थी, मदी लुगड़ की स्टोरी है कि there's a prisoner और बहुत बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग प्लॉट है, बिकॉज व्हेन यू वॉच दिस फिल्म, दिस इज आई थिंक द फाइनेस्ट क्रिएशन ऑफ अदूर गोपालकृष्णन. एंड अदूर साहब इज नोन एज the leading light of Indian cinema right now. After Satyajit Ray and Mrinal Sen, he is the most influential Indian filmmakers. तो उसमें है कि एक प्रिजनर है, और क्योंकि प्रिजन में विमेन एंड मेल का जो प्रिजन होते हैं वो अलग अलग होते हैं, तो देयर इज अ वॉल डिवाइडिंग बोथ द सेक्शंस ऑफ द प्रिजन. तो एक दीवार के पीछे एक महिला है जो इस फिल्म में कभी नहीं दिखाई जाती. देयर इज जस्ट द वॉइस ऑफ दैट विमेन, और वो उससे बात करता है. The protagonist, the main character of that film, which is played by Mammootty, which is, who is one of the best actors of not just Malayali cinema but Indian cinema at large. So he's the legend himself. So he's playing that role. This whole story is that love story between those two prisoners. One being invisible in the sense, you just get a symbolic voice for that woman, and there's this whole story revolving around this voice and the prisoner. और इसमें कई अच्छे शॉट्स हैं, क्योंकि एक सवाल जो उठाया जाता है अदूर गोपालकृष्णन पे कि भाई उनके जो कैमरा एंगल से दैट डजंट मूव मच, तो कैमरा बड़ा स्टिल रहता है, कोई भी उसमें मूवमेंट नहीं होता. बट वंस यू सी दिस फिल्म विच इज बेस्ड ऑन बशीर स्टोरी, you will see there are shots which are moving. वो एक बहुत शानदार shot है. The best shot of this film is Mammootty is walking alongside the wall, and there is a sliding or whatever you can call that scene. So you must watch that film, और शायद अभी YouTube पर available है. मदी लुगल नाम है फिल्म का, or watch it. It's, I think subtitles are also available for that film. So that is how I got to know about Bashir. Then I asked a few friends who are from Kerala. They said, Bashir is so one of the most legendary names in Malayali literature. But then again, there's the same problem. We are not exposed to those regional writers. And this is not just about Malayalam. हमें पंजाबी writers के बारे में नहीं पता. हमें जो भोजपुरी राइटर्स हैं मैथिली में लिख रहे हैं, या गुजराती में लिख रहे हैं, या मराठी में लिख रहे हैं. Those of us who are reading Hindi or English, we can't really get that exposed to the whole world of regional literature, and I think that's a limitation that we have to overcome.
And I remember, Ishan, कि we had a couple of months ago हमने एक series करी थी on regional poets, and उसमें we had covered Shiv Kumar Batalvi, who's from Punjab. He happens to be from the same hometown as my maternal grandparents, so I especially remember him. And I remember reading comments like, "अरे इनके बारे में आपने बात करी, and we are so glad to have him back." So maybe we should, now that we are on regional writers, so maybe we should soon talk about them in one of our series, because like you said, जिस तरह तुम, and all of us know that you're a big film fan, and अगर तुम film suggest कर रहे हो, so it must be really good. So maybe we should, start working more on regional, at Karwaan itself, more on regional films, regional poets, regional literature, and हम लोग शुरू करते हैं ये. It's a good idea. It's a good thing to start on.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल किया जा सकता है, और उसके लिए सबसे पहले तो लोगों को हमारे इंस्टाग्राम फॉलो करना पड़ेगा, वेयर पोस्ट. तो एक सेगवे जरूरी है, क्योंकि वी नीड ऑल योर सपोर्ट, और टू सपोर्ट यू कैन आल्सो सेंड सुपर चैट्स इन द यूट्यूब लाइव. There's an option called super chat. If you want to help us, if you want to sustain Karwaan, send super chats, like, follow, subscribe the YouTube channel, and then move to Instagram, where we post every day about history, about various events and figures and facts that you can learn from.
And now I'll take another minute. Sorry, Shan. Now that you're talking about regional poets, Pahadi now. Pahadi is my paternal side. So Pahadi poet में Pahadi poetry is something which is even lesser known. And मेरे एक relative हैं, he passed away very recently. Piyush Guleri साहब हैं, and he's been honored by state government. And when he passed away, we had condolence messages coming from them. So, and उनके through मुझे पता चला कि पहाड़ी literature is even less known a field in regional literature. So when we talk about regionalism, I think ये वाले areas में तो इसमें भी अगर hire किए तो ये कुछ areas और भी ज़्यादा कम जाने जाते हैं. So we should definitely talk about them. So this is a good point that we've started on.
नहीं, बहुत अच्छा पॉइंट है। और पहाड़ी तो मैंने सिर्फ पहाड़ी पेंटिंग्स के बारे में पढ़ा है, और क्योंकि बीएन गोस्वामी एंड प्रोफेसर कविता सिंह ऑल हैव वर्कड ऑन पहाड़ी पेंटिंग्स फॉर अ वेरी लॉन्ग टाइम, सो दैट इज हाउ आई एम एक्सपोज्ड टू पहाड़ी पेंटिंग्स। बट हाँ, पहाड़ी म्यूजिक और पहाड़ी लिटरेचर, और सिर्फ उत्तराखंड हिमाचल नहीं, अगर आप असम साइड जाएं या अरुणाचल जाएं, और वहाँ के जो रीजनल लिटरेचर हैं, जो भी माउंटेन्स में जो रीजनल लिटरेचर लिखा जाता है, वो हमेशा बहुत शानदार होता है मेरे हिसाब, मेरा ये मानना है। और उधर का म्यूजिक भी बड़ा शानदार होता है, बिकॉज आई एम मोर बायस्ड टुवर्ड्स असमीज म्यूजिक, एंड आई लिसन टू भूपेन हजारिका और प्रतिमा बरुआ पांडे और ना पपो, ऑल दीज लेजेंड्स। तो हाँ, हमें जरूर करना चाहिए रीजनल हिस्ट्री पर काम। और ये जो फिगर्स हैं, रीजनल लिटरेचर के पोएट्स हैं, राइटर्स हैं, इस पे एक इंस्टाग्राम सीरीज हम जरूर शुरू करेंगे।
And इसी बहाने we should give a call also to people who are, into regional literature, who can read their regional languages well, write well in their languages. Please do contact us on our official email ID, and we would love to have you in our team. We are actively recruiting right now, so please do get in touch with us. हमारे forms are out on our official pages, so get in touch with us because we would love to hear your region's literature and story.
हाँ, so जैसे चांदनी ने बताया, volunteer, we are accepting volunteers right now. So if you happen to be interested in Karwaan, and if you wish to contribute in our project, you have to go to our Facebook page. We have posted the link of a Google form. आपको वो Google form भरना है, and then there will be an interview on, I think on 27th we'll do the interview, 27th January, because 26th is the deadline to fill the form, or be a member. And मूविंग अहेड, क्योंकि बशीर के बारे में तो बहुत कुछ बोला जा सकता है, और अभी तो बशीर को हमने पढ़ना शुरू किया। आई थिंक देयर इज अ लॉट मोर टू बशीर। और जैसे हम पहले भी बात कर रहे थे कि बशीर लेफ्ट स्कूल एट व्हेन ही वाज इन क्लास 10th, he left school, he joined the freedom movement, he was jailed। और ये जो किताब है प्रेम लेखनम, ये उन्होंने तब लिखी थी जब वो जेल में थे। So it was a story he wrote during his prison time, and that is how Adur Gopalakrishnan created the whole word called Madilugal. एंड अदूर की बात हो रही है, तो अदूर की एक और मैं फिल्म का जिक्र करूंगा जो आप लोग जरूर देखिए, मुखामुखम एक है, फेस टू फेस, जिसका ट्रांसलेशन है मुखामुखम। इस फिल्म को देखिए, इट्स ऑल्सो ऑन यूट्यूब। The word of YouTube is so vast, and most regional films are available on YouTube, whether it's legal or illegal, that doesn't matter if it is catering your interest, I think. So do watch those which are available, और शायद Amazon और वगैरह जो प्लेटफॉर्म्स हैं उस पे भी अवेलेबल हैं, तो जरूर देखिए। हमने एक और का जिक्र किया, राश बिहारी बोस, एंड वी ऑल नो द ग्रेट द रेवोल्यूशनरी राश बिहारी बोस। तो आज उनकी डेथ एनिवर्सरी है, सो वी रिमेंबर हिम because his contribution to Indian history is very important. He's not often remembered, unfortunately, but he's the founding father of what we know as the Indian Army today. कई लोगों को लगता है नेताजी बोस started the Indian National Army, but in reality it was राश बिहारी बोस जिन्होंने टोक्यो में इसको बनाया था, इंडियन नेशनल आर्मी को, and then he handed over to नेताजी।
एंड आई थिंक ईशान, जो बहुत अजीब बात है, जैसे तुम बात कर रहे हो दैट वी डोंट सेल्डम रिमेंबर हिम, हम हिस्ट्री में भी, अब हम पढ़ रहे हैं हिस्ट्री, वी रीडिंग हिस्ट्री फुल टाइम, इवन देन आल्सो वी डोंट डिस्कस हिम एज मच एज वी शुड, राइट? एंड यू म्यूटेड, ईशान म्यूटेड।
Just a moment. I was writing the email ID in the description. If somebody is asking the email ID, मैंने chat पे लिख दी है email ID. Our email ID is karwanheritage@gmail.com. So Bidhan, please reach out to us. And Abhijat Singh Shake Singh, wow, I am on time. Hello Ishan Bhaiya and Chandni Didi. Hello, hi Abhijat.
Hello, thank you for joining us.
And if you are listening to us, the daily ritual, you have to subscribe, you have to like the Instagram page, and follow us on other platforms as well. And if you like our work, you all can send the super chats. That's that's optional, but we'll keep insisting on that towards the end. So we were at Raj Bihari Bose, yes.
We were discussing कि हम लोग किस तरह हम भी कम पढ़ते हैं उन्हें when
हाँ.
we're discussing independence movement for that matter.
And I'm not very sure ki if I have read any book on Raj Bihari Bose, you know, as an individual. There's a lot of books. There are a lot of books coming up on Netaji, but there is no book on Raj Bihari Bose, if I'm correct. If I'm wrong, please let me know if there are any books. Maybe there might be some in Bangla, but in English, I'm not very sure if there's a book. लेकिन हाँ, we remember Raj Bihari Bose today on his death anniversary and for his all his contributions. और नेताजी पे एक बड़ी अच्छी फिल्म है, बहुत ही मजेदार फिल्म है, मुझे बहुत पसंद है. वो श्याम बेनेगल की है, द फॉरगॉटन हीरो, द अनफॉरगॉटन हीरो, नेताजी अनफॉरगेटेबल हीरो नेताजी सुभाष चंद्र बोस, ऐसा नाम है. It's a kind of a documentary kind of a film, but it's a film, a feature film. और ये करीब करीब 2004 या 5 के करीब आई थी, मुझे याद है. और तब तो टीवी पे फिल्में आती थी अच्छी. आजकल तो अकाल है टीवी पर, लेकिन वो बहुत अच्छी फिल्म है और शायद इट्स अवेलेबल ऑन यूट्यूब नाउ. द अनफॉरगेटेबल हीरो, नेताजी सुभाष चंद्र बोस, और श्याम बेनेगल की थी ये फिल्म. बहुत अच्छी फिल्म थी, जरूर देखिए.
बेनेगल साहब की है तो इट मस्ट बी रियली गुड.
हाँ, और दैट रिमाइंड्स अस, बेनेगल साहब का भी इंटरव्यू इज on Karwaan that you have to watch. So Karwaan is very fortunate in that sense कि हमने दोनों legends, Adur Gopalakrishnan and Shyam Benegal, who are the flag bearers of Indian cinema, we have interviewed them on Karwaan in our Karwaan Cinema Archive project. And there's another interesting, two interesting interviews coming up. I won't reveal the guest, but you will be really happy to know once it's out. तो आप उसके तब तक अपना जज्बा जारी रखिए जानने का कि कौन है. और इफ यू नो, इफ यू वांट टू guess it in the live chat, she is an actress, very well known, was very active in the 70s and 80s art cinema. That's all I can give you as hints. So it's your task now to know the guest. And we are yet to record the entire interview, but yeah, the guest is finalized and we are all set to have that interview very soon. इसके अलावा आज एक और बड़ा खबर आई. मैं जब सुबह टीवी देख रहा था और मेरे फोन में, टीवी तो खैर न्यूज नहीं देखता बिकॉज अनफॉर्चुनेटली द स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ न्यूज हैज गॉन रियली डाउन, बट I got a notification कि Amar Jawan Jyoti ko they are shifting to the National War Capital, and there is a huge criticism for it. Some are calling it the rewriting of history, because you know that is the mark. Indira Gandhi was the prime minister when it was made, the Amar Jawan Jyoti in 70s, in remembrance of the heroes, our soldiers who were martyred, and the India Gate itself was dedicated to the heroes of World War I. And now they are changing the location of I think they have merged it with the Amar Jyoti at War Memorial.
War Memorial, yes.
So people are asking ki, bhai, why couldn't they coexist? So that's something that, well, I don't have any opinion on that right now because I have not read the entire story. I just read the headline, but let's see how it unfolds. And I think it has already done. The ceremony took place.
Yeah, the ceremony took place
this evening, huh?
But yeah, I think Ishan, now that we're discussing about it, यहाँ पे तो it's a personal opinion, I believe.
Yeah. No, we won't have any opinion on this because I have not read it.
Yeah.
And
but what is the underlying emotion is that we remember, and we there's nothing but huge amount of respect for all that the defense is doing for us, has been doing for us tirelessly for years and years. हम सबकी families से जाते हैं लोग, and the kind of patriotism that our country has, touch wood, I hope it remains like that for forever and ever. That is the
हाँ.
only theme that we have.
चलो अभी लेट्स अभी आज के समाचार यहीं समाप्त होते हैं. आज का न्यूज बुलेटिन दूरदर्शन का यहीं समाप्त होता है. एंड वी आर गोइंग टुवर्ड्स द फन पार्ट ऑफ द कॉन्वर्जेशन. एंड हियर आई, जैसे कि मैंने बताया, आज एक मिस्ट्री गेस्ट है हमारे साथ. और मैं जब 3, 2, 1 बोलूं तो मिस्ट्री गेस्ट साहिबा आप अपना कैमरा ऑन कर लीजिएगा. एंड लेट्स काउंट टू 3, 2, 1.
2, 1.
And our guest today is our team member, core team member Najia. Hi Najia, welcome to this live.
Hi, Najia.
Hello, Ishan. Hello, Chandni. It's really nice to be here with you both.
And we discussed last time कि हम पक्का तुमसे बात करेंगे, and we can't wait to get in conversation with you.
नाजिया, पहला सवाल तो ये नहीं, उस पे तो हम जाएंगे जिस थीम पे हम आने वाले हैं. लेकिन नाजिया, क्या आपको लगा था कि आप कारवान लाइव पे आएंगी कभी?
Wow.
To be honest, no, I didn't.
नहीं,
I
ये
seriously did not think I'll work till this point with Karwaan. I thought like I'll go with you guys for a month or two, but I didn't think that I would actually stay on.
नहीं, ये सवाल
It
मेरा
was a
inspired
wonderful
था.
experience.
ये सवाल मेरा इंस्पायर्ड था कपिल शर्मा कॉमेडी नाइट विद कपिल शर्मा में. वो पूछता है ना कि कपिल ऑलवेज आस्क हिज गेस्ट कि भाई क्या आपको लगता था कि आप इस शो पे आएंगे? तो दैट वाज अ जोक काइंड ऑफ थिंग. आई एम रियली सॉरी फॉर दैट पुअर जोक. डोंट अनसब्सक्राइब प्लीज. डोंट अनसब्सक्राइब टू कारवान.
Yeah, please don't do that. Ishan is really sorry.
In fact, I would suggest those who are watching and actually do want to volunteer with Karwaan, according to my own experience, I would actually suggest try volunteering with us. And it's a really, really good, initiative. And you can actually learn, you can grow with this kind of an organization. So it was a wonderful experience for me. So might be for you too. So do try this.
थैंक यू नाजिया. तो आज का सवाल जो है, आई विल बी द एंकर ऑफ दिस न्यूज सेगमेंट. आज का सवाल है, क्योंकि मैं इस सवाल का जवाब नहीं दे सकता. आई एम नॉट रियली श्योर इफ आई एम क्वालिफाइड इनफ टू टॉक अबाउट द थीम दैट वी आर गोइंग टू डिस्कस. इट्स अ वेरी सीरियस थीम. तो दिल थाम के बैठे. आज का मुद्दा है हैरी पॉटर. हु इज हैरी पॉटर? कहाँ से आया है हैरी पॉटर?
Context दे देते हैं. We are discussing him because recently they had their reunion. So that is why we decided to discuss him in our Baithak this Friday.
And just setting the context,
dangerous waters. Right?
Najia is a expert on Harry Potter, and I am somebody who has watched the films 4 or 5 parts of the series. मैंने एक किताब पढ़ी है, which is the first part, Philosopher's Stone. So I do not have any opinions on Harry Potter, unfortunately, but I am the muggle head in that sense, in that context. I am somebody who is non-magical. So I'll ask Chandni or Najia to take over from here, and then I'll be back once Harry Potter is completely discussed. Then we'll talk some interesting theme that is yet to be discussed. So Chandni, over to you.
Right. So, मतलब Najia takes the cake when it comes to having Potter knowledge. But chalo, now that I get to play Ishan, so I'll play the host here and ask a few questions. So, Najia, सबसे basic सवाल. Who is your favorite character in the Harry Potter series?
Oh, nice. That's Harry Potter. Harry Potter himself.
And हम लोगों ने, we were discussing in one of our meetings.
See, my favorite character is, because I watched the first part, Hagrid is my favorite character. Because I resemble with Hagrid if I don't shave.
वो तो है. हाँ, in fact, you're right. क्या बात कर रहे थे हम? बुला ही दिया तुमने. हाँ, हैरी पॉटर के बारे में. सो हैरी पॉटर का रियूनियन नाजिया तुमने देखा था, तो उसमें कहा था ना दैट हैरी पॉटर वाज वन ऑफ द मोस्ट डिफिकल्ट कैरेक्टर्स जो उन्होंने कास्ट किए थे, है ना?
Exactly. And generally पता है क्या होता है, whenever people watch it, like most of the people I've seen, they are like, okay, Tom Felton is our favorite, like Draco is our favorite, yeah, Hermione's our favorite, Ron's our favorite, yeah, Fred and George, for example. Usually Fred and George for most of the people. But Harry Potter is one character where people are like he's also good. हैरी पॉटर को हर कोई बहुत ज्यादा कभी फेवरेट के तौर पे नहीं देखता, बट आई थिंक लाइक फॉर मी हैरी पॉटर इज एक्चुअली द फेवरेट पर्सन इन द होल बुक्स.
तो तुमने बुक्स भी, तुमने कहा तुम you've read the book from cover to cover, all the books. तो हम बहुत ही टेक्निकल सवाल पूछ रहे हैं. सो कहते हैं कि द मूवी Daniel Radcliffe, though excellent as Harry Potter, he was not very close to how Rowling has imagined her in books. So kitna, how true is it? Is it true that he's not the way he's imagined in books? Is he a bit different?
Yes, of course, because you see, Daniel has a charm to him. Like, it's a very, very different, and it's a very, very sophisticated kind of a look which Daniel poses in front of us, right? Whereas Harry is a lanky and a very insecure type of a person, and it's a very, very beautiful character which Rowling in her books she's given us. So books may it's a very different thing, but overall Daniel is, I think, the best Harry Potter we've ever had, and I don't think anyone would ever be able to match that.
I have an unpopular favorite from the Harry Potter series, and it's Snape. Maybe because Rickman played it and he played it so well, but मुझे Snape बहुत पसंद आया.
Yeah,
बहुत ही layered है, and
definitely.
And he's ultimately जो end में the last scene that Snape has, it was so touching and so poignant that मेरे लिए that is why he's my favorite character. So Severus Snape.
हमारे ऑडियंस में भी कई लोगों को स्नेप पसंद है. So
oh yes,
people sent in chat. अच्छा, तो जो लोग हैं chat पर available अभी 22-24 people, those who are watching us right now, why don't they send their favorite characters from Harry Potter? Mine is Hagrid, Najee is Harry Potter himself, Chandni's favorite is Snape. तो अभी आप बताइए आपका कौन है. मैं तो चाहता हूँ कोई डंबलडोर भी किसी का पसंदीदा हो. भाई डंबलडोर वाज सच ए हम्बल पर्सन. I love him.
Dumbledore turned out to be totally different वैसे in the end from what one expects him to be. नहीं, नाजिया बताएगी, because नाजिया के पास सबसे ज्यादा knowledge है when it comes to Harry Potter. नहीं ना नाजिया, what do you say? You did not
indeed,
expect him to be like that.
What? Pardon? Can you please repeat?
मैं कह रही थी कि हम लोग did not expect कि Dumbledore would turn out to be this, this man who knew all along कि क्या होने वाला in to Harry Potter.
Right. Right.
But still.
But that's where and that's where the mystery lies, actually.
बिल्कुल.
And that's what is the most interesting thing, because that's where we get to know Snape and his true form, like where his true allegiance lied all along. So
now that we are asking, so I'll ask the audience as well, that अब आपको ईशा ने बोला ये that you write your favorite character, so I'll give you another task to do. Now that we're discussing favorite characters, तो आप ये भी बताइए all the Potterheads in our viewers कि आपकी favorite book/movie कौन सी है when it comes to Harry Potter. नाजिया तुमसे शुरू करते हैं.
And I sympathize with those who are not Potterheads like me. Because there might be some of them in the chat.
But we'll be picking up. आप please
don't
बताइए
worry, Ishan.
which cult you like the most. Sorry, which movie cult that you like the most, and आप chat में लिखिए, and next time we'll pick that up for our discussion. नहीं ईशान? So please do write in comments.
Let's do that. हम उस फिल्म को, उस सीरीज को हम उठाएंगे बात करने के लिए. जैसे आज हम we are discussing Harry Potter, and by the way I'll just read out the chat because there are so many favorites. Saksham says Snape, Abhijat Singh Shakir says Dumbledore, Nikita Joshi's favorite character is Hermione, Ritu's favorite character is Snape, Gaurav Singh's favorite character is Longbottom, Roshan says Dumbledore, Salim Rizvi says Harry Potter. Raman Indian says Hermione, and then Saksham says Alan Rickman was one of the very few people who knew about his character completely. Like from the first time he read the character, so he knew more about Harry Potter than anyone in the franchise. Ritu says Dumbledore was manipulative. Hashim Razar Rizvi says, my favorite is also Harry Potter. Saksham again says, so if you watch Fantastic Beasts, they're unraveling about more about Dee Dee's past, Dumbledore's past, his relationships and upbringing. So yeah, that are the comments, and then you have the second questions answers though, but we'll read those after some time.
Great. So Fantastic Beasts की बात हुई तो Ishan, you said that you have watched Fantastic Beasts.
I watched it.
So let's start with
So
your.
how did you like it, Ishan?
तो मैं पॉटर हेड नहीं हूँ, लेकिन उससे जो उसके पास्ट का हिस्टोरियन विल ऑलवेज लाई इन हिस्ट्री, तो मैं तो उधर ही पढ़ा रहता हूँ हिस्ट्री में ही, और मुझे बहुत पसंद आई फैंटास्टिक बीस्ट. काफी अच्छे 2 पार्ट शायद उसके आए हैं, और आई वॉच्ड बोथ ऑन इट इज ऑन Amazon Prime if I'm not wrong, and I watched it last year. I didn't watch it when it came out in cinema because I was really very reluctant, or I do not watch fantasy fiction that much, and I do not read that genre too. The last film that I watched in theater was which is fantasy fiction, was The Chronicles of Narnia, and that was a film that I watched. And वो बड़ा मजेदार था क्योंकि उसमें अलमारी खुलती है and then you go into another world altogether. And कई समय तक मुझे लगा कि यार मेरी
That's a
अलमारी में
very wonderful series.
कि मेरे अलमारी में भी
अगर
ऐसा
वो वाली
कुछ
books
हो.
भी पढ़ी हो, then C.L. Lewis is a fantastic writer. Again, उस जमाने में इतनी अच्छी मतलब book लिख लेना, it's a very wonderful idea. Narnia is a wonderful book.
नार्निया वंडरफुल फ्रेंचाइज. हाँ, लेकिन नार्निया में भी एंड में आते आते द फिल्म्स बिकेम बोरिंग, वेरी बोरिंग. I liked the first 2 parts of Narnia, Chronicles of Narnia first and second.
Exactly.
I only watched first 2
Okay,
parts.
when Peter and Susan leave, then Narnia becomes boring.
हाँ, तो अच्छा किया पहले और दूसरा ही देखा, अभी आगे मत देखो क्योंकि there's nothing in these.
I've watched all the parts. I've even read the books again, Narnia. So
हाँ, मैंने नार्निया वाली किताबें नहीं पढ़ी. मैंने किताबों में फैंटेसी फिक्शन में शायद फिलोसोफर स्टोन ही पढ़े है, वो फर्स्ट पार्ट. तो जिस सवाल
किताबें मैंने वही पहली 2 ही पढ़ी because
हानि चांदनी का सवाल था कि कौन सी किताब हमें उस सीरीज में पसंद है.
हाँ,
तो क्योंकि मैंने
नार्निया, अगर नार्निया टॉपिक हमारे व्यूअर्स को पसंद आता है, वी कैन पिक दैट अप. सो प्लीज आपके ऊपर एक और काम डाल देते हैं. इफ यू वांट अस टू डिस्कस नार्निया, तो प्लीज राइट इन कमेंट्स. सो वी विल पिक नार्निया अप फॉर आवर नेक्स्ट डिस्कशन. बट अभी लाइक ईशान सेड, हमारा टॉपिक है हैरी पॉटर. तो फेवरेट हैरी पॉटर मूवी या बुक कौन सी थी? नाजिया, लेट्स गो विद यू फर्स्ट.
नाजिया की शायद थोड़ा सा इंटरनेट थोड़ा सा पीछे चल रहा है, लैग हो रहा है.
मेरा फेवरेट था चेंबर ऑफ सीक्रेट्स. सेकंड है वो,
सेकंड पार्ट. हाँ,
इट्स द सेकंड पार्ट. मूवी मुझे बहुत पसंद आई थी, एंड मतलब सबने देखी हुई है तो आई डोंट रियली नो हाउ टू से इट, बट आई रियली लाइक. एंड बिकॉज इसके बाद ना, आफ्टर द सेकंड पार्ट चेंबर ऑफ सीक्रेट्स के बाद थोड़ी डार्क होनी शुरू हो गई थी हैरी पॉटर समवेयर, and that irritated me, saddened me a little. So that is why मेरे लिए Chamber of Secrets was really, it's a very fun movie and I like to watch it whenever it comes on television. So मेरे लिए it is second part. तो हाँ, आगे नाजिया वापस.
For me it was the first part itself. For me it was the first part itself because Philosopher's Stone is just epic. Because जब हैरी को पता चलता है कि he's a wizard and it's just a wonderful experience. तो उसके बाद then he goes with Hagrid and then there's shopping, and it's every child's dream come true. It's like, we've been waiting for our letters when we were 11, we didn't get it, so now we're here discussing Harry Potter.
Yeah, ये लेटर से याद है, there's this some website or something they send that customized letters on if you want to buy them, they'll customize it, the invitation to Hogwarts. So Instagram पे शायद कई लोग कर रहे हैं आजकल ये.
I heard about this. आजकल उनका merchandise is really famous.
हाँ, द मर्चेंडाइज, और उससे आप कस्टमाइज कर सकते हैं, बड़ा अच्छा।
Yeah.
क्योंकि वन ऑफ माय फ्रेंड गॉट दैट फॉर हिमसेल्फ, और ही वाज शोइंग दैट कि भाई आई गॉट द इनविटेशन, और ऐसा करके कुछ तो उसने डाला था बहुत पहले। लेकिन हाँ, मेरी फेवरेट फिल्म रहेगी डेथली हेलोस पार्ट 1, जो जो अंजाम से पहले का था, जो फर्स्ट पार्ट था आखिरी उसका, वो मुझे बड़ा पसंद आया। और आखिरी वाला तो इट वाज अ सडन एंड। उसके बाद आई थिंक देयर केम अ बुक, अ ड्रामा, द कर्स चाइल्ड,
Cursed child.
Because child.
हाँ,
उसमें
cursed child.
डिडंट डू गुड, उसका सच सेल भी नहीं हुआ, वो चली भी नहीं ज्यादा। मुझे लगता है लोगों को पसंद नहीं आई थी, जो लोग हैरी पॉटर पढ़ते थे। मैंने उनसे पूछा, दे डिडंट लाइक द बुक। बट नाजिया, तुमने पढ़ा है वो वाला पार्ट?
नहीं, I haven't actually.
उसमें
Because
शायद
Harry
twist
Potter
बन रही
के first 7 parts they were good enough. Like you just don't need to add something more to that. वो अपने
मैंने
आप में बहुत अच्छे हैं.
आई
है।
हर्ड
तो
कि यूके में शायद लंदन में उसमें एक एक लोकल ड्रामा टाइप हो रहा है
इसी
जस्ट फॉर,
से होगा।
हाँ, जस्ट फॉर लंदन, इट्स
But
नॉट
this is not written by J.K. Rowling. The Cursed Child is not J.K. Rowling's work. It's by two other people. I'm not sure the names of those. लेकिन शायद J.K. Rowling की नहीं है वो किताब, The Cursed Child.
मैंने उसकी स्टोरी पढ़ ली थी, आई रेड इट इन सिनॉप्सिस आउट ऑफ क्यूरियोसिटी. यू आर राइट, इट शुड, आई लाइक वेयर इट एंडेड, विद देम सेंडिंग देयर चिल्ड्रन ऑफ. वहां पे इट्स अबाउट देयर चिल्ड्रन, आई थिंक. Yeah, I believe it's about their children and what kind
exactly,
of.
it's about their children.
Ah,
Yeah.
कुछ कमेंट्स हैं, उसको भी पढ़ लेते हैं।
please, please.
अभिजात कह रहे हैं उनका फेवरेट किताब है फिलोसफर स्टोन। Nachiketa Joshi and Gaurav says Order of the Phoenix. The Sorcerer's Stone, Ritu ji कह रही हैं, that's the same Philosopher's Stone, I believe. Yeah, that's the same ना?
हाँ जी, yes.
हाँ, मैं भी थोड़ा कंफ्यूज हो गया 2 सेकंड के लिए। Saksham's favorite is Order of the Phoenix. By the way, Saksham is a volunteer, and he's wonderful writer. He's a wonderful writer. So do follow Saksham's writing on our Instagram page. So you have to follow that. So Saksham says, "Cause that's one movie. His reason of liking Order of the Phoenix is that's one movie where we see character development of Draco, Dumbledore, Lucius, and even Snape. Like first time the movie moved from the main trio, from the Hermione and Ron and that Harry.
Harry and Ron, right?
तो बहुत अच्छा रीजन है आपका सेक्शन। उसके बाद जोया ने अभी तक बताया नहीं, सॉरी। जोया ने नाजिया को हाय बोला है शायद, जोया फातिमा।
Oh, hi Zoya. Hi Zoya. That's my classmate out there.
अच्छा, हाय हाय जोया, एंड
Zoya.
डू फिल द वॉलंटियर्स फॉर्म इफ यू वांट टू जॉइन अस। रितु जी सेज fantasy films, she wants to we can discuss Lord of the Ring. I think it's her favorite fantasy film, Lord of the Rings. I haven't watched or read Lord of the Rings, unfortunately. I have to watch the entire series. Then Saksham के दो और comment है, that I'll come to that later, but yeah, continue Chandni.
हाँ, तो before this we were discussing कि किस तरह टॉम फेल्टन who played Draco Malfoy in this series बहुत ही कम screen time था, but he still managed to capture everybody's attention. And Najia, you said that you felt that as well, right? And people,
Yeah,
please write in
exactly.
the comments also if you felt the same way, that Draco Malfoy, which was played by Tom Felton in the movie, do you think that he did capture your attention, even though he has a slightly dark side to him in the story and in the movie? Najia, तुमसे शुरू करते हैं.
Yeah, right. Like his development is from an arrogant and a very, very aggressive, arrogant, and a very rich child who gets everything he desires, and literally his most famous dialogue is, "My father will hear about this." So you see, he develops from that to a child, to a boy who is like, when he comes to that point where he has to kill Dumbledore, he's like, "I don't want to kill you," but like he's totally he's got something good inside of him. And you see, when J.K. Rowling, she even says that you've got good and bad both inside of you, and it's about your own choice. You've got to choose which side you pick. So Draco's that embodiment of this quote, basically. So we see Draco being a totally different character when it comes to the books, even because he actually tries. Like in the movies, we see the battles going on outside and it's going on in the main campus, right, in the fields. Whereas in reality, in the books, the battle goes on inside the main hall. So Draco is one of the people who goes inside and he fights from the side of Harry and all, right?
Right.
So he's a very different character. He's doing what he's doing for the sake of his parents because of where his parents' allegiance lied earlier.
You're right. In fact, I think Rowling has given him much more of a layer than even the protagonist Harry Potter, for that matter. And I was watching the reunion, and usme
Yeah,
the actor himself said कि when they were doing that scene जो तुमने कहा Dumbledore वाला, where he's supposed to kill Dumbledore and then he hesitates and कि मारूं कि ना मारूं, he doesn't know what to do. Tom Felton ने कहा था अपने इंटरव्यू में that he was telling us कि he was told by the director कि this is your make or break moment. This is your redemption. Up tak,
exactly.
your character was being sidelined the entire time by the three people, by Hermione, Harry, and Ron. Now, agar tumne ye wala scene, if you take it out, if you pull it off correctly,
If you can nail it.
Yeah, exactly. Draco will also be included in with the 3-star cast of the film and the books, and I think he did it extremely well.
Exactly. And there's one deleted scene that you might have or might not have seen, where Draco actually gives his wand to Harry. When Harry jumps up again and they come to know that Harry Potter is actually alive, so Draco gives his wand and he rushes towards their side. So that scene is actually deleted from the movies, but it's there.
Acha, I did not
If
know
you
about
watch on, yeah, so it's a very wonderful scene. They should have included this in the movies.
So, do we have any comments about Draco?
Yes, I think we have many comments. Baki, I've asked Saksham to join the Zoom if he wants, if he's free, and maybe Saksham can also contribute because he knows a lot about Harry Potter. Saksham says, I think it is very important for the stories to get a little dark, raw, and realist, because when we were young and started watching the films, it was very fascinating to visit the world. But then when we grew up, we realized that the word is cruel, evil, and dark. My God, that's why they hired different directors from Azkaban onwards to give it a more darker touch as well. Then Harshim Raza Rizvi साहब कह रहे हैं कि Chamber of Secrets was also good. Yeah, it was good. Then Saksham says, and the best thing about Draco is seeking that validation from his father. Now he has to step up into his father's shoes without a choice and option. And similarly, Felton seek the validation of Isaac as an actor as well. So it's Felton in a way playing Draco too close to what he has been experiencing as a young actor. So I think Draco, okay, jo father, he works at he works in the Ministry of Magic.
Yes, you're right.
Till I've got one plot correct.
Man,
Sukhad.
Great. Congratulations.
और शायद फर्स्ट पार्ट में ही आता है जब हैग्रिड को पकड़ने आते हैं मिनिस्ट्री से लोग, शायद उसमें उसके फादर भी आते हैं, ऐसा कुछ था, मुझे याद आ रहा है, पता नहीं मैं गलत हूँ शायद.
ये तो नाजिया बता पाएगी, बट मुझे इतना पता है कि मैलफॉयस का कलेक्टिवली फैमिली का काफी कम काम है, बट इतना अच्छा काम किया है तीनों के एक्टर्स ने, पेरेंट्स ने एंड ड्रेको, that they've become one of the most memorable families in the entire series. Everybody remembers the work that they've done.
Yeah. The best pure blood families we can see. Exactly. Like they're even more interesting than the blacks. Even though the black family on the whole is a very interesting one, they've got Sirius Black. So he's one of the most important marauders for that point. But again, I think Malfoys are the best. They nail their cast.
अच्छा, एक और कमेंट है कि I loved reading Half-Blood Prince, especially the parts where Dumbledore pieces Voldemort's past using the memories and tries to teach Harry about his theory of Horcruxes, if I pronounced it correctly.
हाँ सही है
Yeah,
Horcrux.
Horcrux.
चलिए कुछ तो आता है हमें.
Ishan's looking like कहाँ फंस गया मैं नाजिया एंड चांदनी के बीच में.
सच में, क्योंकि हैरी पॉटर से तो दूर दूर का रिश्ता नहीं है, लेकिन हाँ, क्योंकि बचपन में फिल्में देखी हैं जरूर, टीवी पे जब आती थी, और हमारे यहाँ तो हिंदी में डब्ड आती थी, अंग्रेजी में तो मैंने शायद एक ही देखी है, हैरी पॉटर, दैट इज द लास्ट पार्ट, हैरी पॉटर द डेडली हैलोज पार्ट 2.
Deathly Hallows वाला.
That is the only film, Harry Potter franchise, the only film that I watched in English. Otherwise, I watched that dubbed in Hindi, because TV पे क्योंकि local cable था, so they used to dub this thing. They used to play the dubbed part. तो
I
हमें
think Deathly Hallows हम सबसे ज्यादा जो तुमने पार्ट बोला, तुमने देखा है, वही पार्ट हम सबको सबसे ज्यादा अच्छे से याद है. That we full with full conscious watched it in the hall. Because हम तब 2012 या 2013 की बात है, so we were 12-13 year olds. Only then we could actually appreciate सारी movies and वो. And on the comment that Saksham made, Saksham, I agree कि films are reflection of society, but I also believe that वो escapade हैं. From reality. तो मेरे लिए डेथली हैलोस पार्ट 2, इवन दो आई रिमेम्बर सबसे अच्छे से वही क्या पार्ट, बट वो इतना सैड था, सो मेनी पीपल डाइड कि आई डोंट ट्राई टू रिमेम्बर दैट पार्ट दैट मच. तो ईशान, सॉरी वी कांट डिस्कस.
काफी ज्यादा सैड वो पार्ट है, क्योंकि एक ही मैंने शो सिनेमा में देखा, एक ही पार्ट, और दैट वाज टू डार्क.
बहुत डार्क था.
लेकिन सही बात है कि ये जो फैंटेसी फिक्शन है, इट्स एन एस्केप फ्रॉम द रियल वर्ल्ड. तो जैसे एलिस इन वंडरलैंड है, या दे ऑल हैव अ डार्क साइड टू द स्टोरीज फॉर श्योर, बट इवन नार्निया एंड ऑल, they have a villain, and then it's a dark world again, but also it's an escape from the real world, that you get to see rabbits, and you get to see the fairies running here and there, all these kind of things in the faction in fantasy fiction, especially for the younger audience. क्योंकि मैंने तो कई सारी
But then again we've got but then again we've got these sad moments, because if we don't have sadness, how will you appreciate the happy moments that you get?
Very true,
right?
Very
so
true. I think that's an important point, huh? लेकिन
exactly, to appreciate light you need to know what dark looks like.
Very true.
That's very profound, but true.
उमेद साहब कह रहे हैं कि he never liked James Potter. Harry Potter fan.
Seriously, me too.
Me too.
I didn't like James.
हम भी सर, हमें भी
all.
नहीं पसंद आया बिल्कुल भी.
उनका एक और कमेंट है कि जो हैरी पॉटर फैन मेड मूवीज हैं on YouTube, they are also very nice to watch. I haven't watched any fan fiction based on Harry Potter.
Thank you sir. मैंने भी नहीं देखी अभी तक. नाजिया, have you watched any fan made movie?
Marauders पे yes I did, just one or two, but then again they showed James as the hero sometimes, but I think James is a very obnoxious and a very rude person. He's just nice to Sirius Black, but that's just an exception.
वो भी बहुत ही एक सरप्राइज था स्टोरी में, that protagonist's father turns out to be not a good man, rather a wicked person. So
yeah, he's quite wicked. You are right. That's the correct word to use for James.
अच्छा, सो हमारे पास तो जितने लोग हमें देख रहे हैं, एक पहला रिक्वेस्ट कि यू हैव टू लाइक द वीडियो, बिकॉज सी द थिंग इज YouTube algorithm works on likes. So if you like a video, it gets more, it reaches to more people. So the more the likes, the more people will be able to discover Karwaan. And just a clarification, the Friday Baithaks are the light part of the entire organization, where we get to laugh, where we get to just spend some time chilling, because throughout the week, from Monday to Sunday, and every day we spend so much time on critical analysis of the past, debating history, and so much debate goes on in our groups, that it is the time for fantasy fiction to play in our life, where we can spend time with our viewers, where we can have some
escape reality.
Escape reality.
Yeah, exactly.
But that reminds me, some interesting lectures are coming up on Karwaan. there's a lecture by Laura Parodi, which is scheduled for 31st of January. Laura Parodi is an icon. She is one of the leading art historians right now. And she's going to talk about Mughal gardens, myths, and reality. Again, some fantasy, because Mughal gardens is always seen as a space which is very exciting. So we'll uncover that. We are also going to have two lectures on Ramayana, reading the Ramayana by Professor Robert Goldman and Professor Sally Goldman. So these are the three lectures that I wanted to tell you all, and enjoy the conversation. We'll continue with this. But talking about Harry Potter, let's also move to other fantasy fiction that we have read. So आप लोग बताएं आपने कौन सी पढ़ी, because I've read Alice in Wonderland when I was in class 5th or 6th शायद मैं था, तब I read Alice in Wonderland. I also
I think
read,
that's one
yeah,
everyone has read. Alice
हाँ,
in
Alice in
Wonderland. It's a
Wonderland. I think
wonderful one, Ishan.
it was part of the NCERT for, I think, the short story was part of the NCERT. लेकिन कई लोग किताब भी ले सकते थे, मैंने किताब ली थी. Then I also read Harry Potter at the same time, वही पहला पार्ट Philosopher's Stone उसी जमाने में पढ़ा था. अराउंड द वर्ल्ड इन 80 डेज भी एक किताब है जो मुझे फैंटेसी फिक्शन लगती है, क्योंकि आई लव ट्रैवलिंग, एंड बड़ी अच्छी किताब लिखी थी अराउंड द वर्ल्ड इन
वो
80.
मैंने मूवी देखी है, Around the World in 80 Days. It's a very good movie.
मूवी मैंने नहीं देखी शायद,
काफी अच्छी है, try it. बहुत
मैं
अच्छी
जरूर
है.
देखता हूँ. इसके अलावा और फिक्शन में there's Journey to the Center of the Earth and Journey to the
Yes,
Mysterious Island, Jules Verne.
yes.
all these films and books are very interesting. और ये थोड़ा सा साइंस फैंटेसी फिक्शन हो गया, वो थोड़ा सा जम्बल्ड जॉनरा है, लेकिन बड़े इंटरेस्टिंग फिल्म्स बना रहे हैं आजकल के डायरेक्टर्स उन बुक्स पर. और उसमें ज्यादातर द रॉक होते हैं एक्टर, द मेन प्रोटैगनिस्ट इज द रॉक इन दो. ड्वेन जॉनसन आई थिंक plays the protagonist in all those movies, most of these movies, because जर्नी टू द सेंटर ऑफ द अर्थ में भी ड्वेन जॉनसन है शायद, और मिस्टीरियस आइलैंड में भी वही है, जर्नी टू द मिस्टीरियस आइलैंड. सो आप लोग बताएं नाजिया, व्हाट अबाउट यू, व्हाट्स योर चॉइस, व्हाट डिड यू रीड?
Well, fantasy fiction में I've read Percy Jackson series, most of them. They are very, very good. Then Heroes of Olympus, Rick Riordan. And I've even read Spells. I've got Spells here. If you have read this one, Apriline Pike's Spells. It's a very good book. So it's all about very fan. What?
स्पेल्स का जो थोड़ा सा प्लॉट है अगर आप बताना चाहो.
Right. It's about, a different world kind of thing. So in Spells, we've got a fairy realm. So it's a realm where you can have, you've got fairies and elves and all those supernatural creatures, basically. And there's a girl, she has been brought up in the human realm. And then she goes, she gets to know that she's actually a fairy. So, and that too of a very high order. Like they've got castes in fairies as well. So, she is a fairy of, I think the second caste. It's been quite a while since I read this book, so I don't really, remember the exact whole thing, what's it's called, everything. And then she makes friends in the next realm she goes to, in her own realm, the one she belonged to, and then the story goes on. It's a very wonderful one. So adventure, fantasy. So if you want to actually, pass your time.
बड़ा शानदार प्लॉट है तो.
It's something you can read for passing your time, like just for the sake of entertainment. I tend to read, very light books for entertainment purposes. Because otherwise we've got history, and when it comes to history, it gets gory.
नहीं बिल्कुल, एक अगर आप सिर्फ हिस्ट्री पढ़ेंगे जो एकेडमिक हिस्ट्री है, then you will be a very dry person, and you have to read fiction just to make yourself interesting, because एक इंसान में हर तरह के वो जो क्या कहते हैं रस होने चाहिए, जो नवरस हैं, उन हर रस का एक मजा होता है, चाहे वो जो रौद्र रस है या हास्य रस है या अलग अलग जो भी रस है, 9 रस जो हैं अकॉर्डिंग टू नाट्य शास्त्र. तो बड़ा बड़ा अच्छा है। चांदनी, तुम बताओ तुम्हारा क्या पसंद है, तुमने कौन कौन सी किताबें पढ़ी हैं फैंटेसी में?
Fantasy is not okay. Again, an unpopular opinion. Fantasy is not my favorite genre, Najia. मैंने बहुत मूवीज भी नहीं देखी हैं इसमें, एक्सेप्ट फॉर हैरी पॉटर, एलिस इन द वंडरलैंड, और बुक तो शायद मुझे लगता है मैंने एक एक या दो ही पढ़ी हैं फैंटेसी जॉनर में से, एंड दैट इज सलमान रशीदीज हारून एंड द सी ऑफ स्टोरीज। वो मुझे पसंद आई थी, बट आई टेंड टू एंजॉय फार्स एंड वो मोर। बट तुमने जिस तरह बोला कि स्पेल्स साउंड्स रियली इंटरेस्टिंग, so maybe now that I experiment with this genre, I'll pick up the book that you suggested, spells.
In fact, I would suggest you go to read Six of Crows. Well, it's trending nowadays. It's a very wonderful book, and there's another series on Netflix that's been an adaptation of Six of Crows. It's called Shadow and Bone. If you've watched it, it's a really good one.
नहीं, मैं फैंटेसी पर तुम, आई कैन सी दैट यू डीपली इंटरेस्टेड इन फैंटेसी, एंड ईशान और मुझे काफी सारी रिकमेंडेशंस मिल गई हैं, बोथ बुक्स एंड मूवीज। सो मे बी वी विल सेट आउट टू दिस एंड रीड अ फ्यू बुक्स एंड वॉच अ फ्यू मूवीज फैंटेसी जॉनर में से।
नहीं, मुझे फिक्शन पढ़ना शुरू करना है, बिकॉज द बुक्स दैट यू सी इन माय बैकग्राउंड आर ऑल नॉन फिक्शन हिस्ट्री बुक्स, and mostly history, then biographies, and quiz books. So I have a very small collection of fiction, और I wish to expand that collection. और जरूर मैं ये किताब पढ़ूंगा, और इवन नार्निया मुझे पढ़नी है पूरी सीरीज, मैंने पूरी सीरीज नहीं पढ़ी, मुझे वो पूरी सीरीज पढ़नी है। हैरी पॉटर पूरी सीरीज पढ़ने का मन है, लेकिन that's दिल्ली दूरस्थ उसके लिए, क्योंकि वो बहुत बहुत उसमें समय लगेगा मुझे पढ़ने के लिए हैरी पॉटर। लेकिन इसके अलावा कौन से जॉनर्स पसंद है, चलो उस पर बात करते हैं, क्योंकि फिक्शन तो, फैंटेसी फिक्शन एक बहुत ही नीश किस्म का जॉनरा है और हर किसी को पसंद नहीं, जैसे चांदनी ने बोला। और कौन से फिक्शन पसंद है चांदनी? व्हाट आर योर फेवरेट जॉनरास? वास्ट जॉनरास, मतलब उसे कैटेगराइज करना बड़ा मुश्किल हो जाएगा, लेकिन वास्ट।
मुझे क्राइम वाले नॉवेल्स पसंद है, नॉट टू मच ऑफ क्राइम, जरा सा मिस्ट्री नॉवेल्स जो होते हैं। सो व्हेन आई वाज इन मिडिल स्कूल, एलिमेंट्री स्कूल में, आई स्टडीड नैंसी ड्रू अ लॉट, एंड अब मैंने अगाथा क्रिस्टी पढ़ी, एंड वी वर डिस्कसिंग द बुक, सो दिस इज माय फेवरेट अगाथा क्रिस्टी बुक, एंड देन देयर वर नन। बहुत ही मजेदार बुक है ये, सो दिस इज वन दैट आई रियली लाइक। एंड क्योंकि आज हम लोग शोज और मूवीज एंड बुक्स तीनों की इकट्ठे बात कर रहे हैं, Sherlock, I'm sure most of our viewers must have watched. So, wo is the epitome of when it comes to excellence in making crime and mystery, pieces of literature, pieces of.
The Mentalist, even. The Mentalist is a wonderful one.
Mentalist, Simon Baker, my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. So this is one genre that I really enjoy, apart from, like we discussed, history. And बिल्कुल ईशान, होना चाहिए, I think a little deviating a little from our purpose, our research is important.
Very true, and yeah, it humor is very important. और जो हम में तो है, और मुझे लगता है लोगों में होना चाहिए, sense of humor is required. तो आपने बोला crime, you like crime. What about you like genre, crime as a genre, not crime.
Yeah.
Mystery as a genre.
Mystery and crime genre in entertainment.
What about Najia?
Similar.
Amazing.
I like mystery and yeah.
Achha, I read Agatha Christie. I read one of Agatha Christie's book. It was something related to Christmas. मेरे पास वो किताब रखी है कहीं पे, तो मैं भूल गया, बहुत पहले पढ़ी थी। And there was there's another book नीचे रखा है that I cannot read the title. उससे मुझे पढ़ना था. It was something related to ghost of something. खैर, तो वो फिक्शन में तो मुझे वो पसंद है, लेकिन वैसा जॉनर जो मुझे पसंद है वो है नॉन फिक्शन, ट्रू अकाउंट्स, बायोग्राफीज एंड पॉलिटिक्स। ये कई किताबें, और हाल में मैंने 2 किताबें ली हैं जो मैं बड़ा अच्छा मुझे लगी हैं, मैं दिखाता हूँ। नॉन फिक्शन में there is M. Raj Shekhar's Despite the State, Why India Lets Its People Down and How They Cope. It's politics. And then there's Undercover, Ashish Khetan, My Journey into Darkness of Hindutva. These are the two books that I will start reading. I've not read it, but I'll read it. And I also got a advance copy of Anil Kanisetti's book that I wish to show everyone, because we will be having Anirudh Kanisetti very soon on Karwaan. So this is the book Lord of the Deccans, by Anirudh Kanisetti. It's got a beautiful cover, and बड़ी तारीफ लिखी है इसमें किताब के लिए विलियम डैलरिम्पल, मनु पिल्लई, ईरा मुखौटी, टी से राघवन, दाऊद अली एंड राना सफवी साहिबा ने. तो जरूर इस किताब को खरीदिए, प्री ऑर्डर पर रहे इस समय. और मुझे ये पढ़ना शुरू करना है, बिकॉज शायद 13th of Feb is the day when we'll have Anirudh on Karwaan. So we are yet to announce it, but those who are watching us have that privilege of knowing it beforehand, so that you all can schedule your this thing. We'll do a YouTube live for, I think, YouTube or Instagram live, probably either of the two. तो ये मेरे जॉनरा बड़े पसंदीदा हैं. और हिस्ट्री तो खैर it's my passion, it's life. So I read a lot of history every day. इससे याद आया, अगला हफ्ते जो हम डिस्कशन करेंगे, चांदनी एंड नाजिया, अगर नाजिया इफ यू वांट टू जॉइन इन फॉर द नेक्स्ट, उसमें भी प्लीज जॉइन अस. मैं सोचा था वॉर ऑफ सक्सेशन पे भी बात की जाए. बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग थीम है वॉर ऑफ सक्सेशन इन मिडीवल इंडिया. कैसे अलग अलग dynasties में, whether it be the Rajputs, whether it's the Marathas, the Mughals, how was this war of succession took place? How did this took place, or what happened in the past? अगर इस पे भी हम कुछ बात करें, बड़ा अच्छा एक चर्चा हो सकती है.
Definitely, it's a very interesting topic.
बिल्कुल. And we have so much now that हम history पढ़ रहे हैं, तो हमारे पास कितने ज़्यादा examples हैं of how popular history is different from actual history. So that, yeah, maybe now that we've talked about movies, एक hardcore history topic पे discussion कर सकते हैं बैठक पे next time.
Why not? Of course.
We'll do everything. We'll talk about themes like Harry Potter, and then we'll talk about history. Everything will be there on Karwaan Baithak every Friday at 9:30 p.m. तो आप लोग भाई रिमाइंडर लगा लीजिए, अलार्म लगा लीजिए, हर हफ्ते वो बज जाए 9:30 बजे, ताकि आप YouTube पे आ जाएं. Or before, because I think we had a great conversation today on Harry Potter, let's end with our YouTube recommendations, book recommendations, and then I'll quickly read some comments, and then we'll end, because it's already, I think, 10:40. It's so let me just give you some recommendations for this week. This week, all of you must watch two YouTube channels. One being Unfiltered by Samdesh Bhatia is, a very new young journalist. And, when I prepare for interviews, I interview a lot of people. I love interviewing people. So when I interview, I have two people in my mind when I interview. One is Samdesh and another is Irfan Saab. SM Irfan, who is the anchor of Guftagoo. तो जो गुफ्तगू जश्न रेख्ता के वेबसाइट, जश्न रेख्ता के यूट्यूब चैनल पर आप उसको भी सुने. उसमें हमारे मेंटर सोहेल हाशमी साहब का भी एक गुफ्तगू है, वो सुनिए. बड़ा मजेदार वो इंटरव्यू है. तो इन अनफिल्टर्ड बाय संदेश, गुफ्तगू ऑन जश्न रेख्ता बाय इरफान साहब, एंड देन चलचित्र टॉक्स. It's a place where you get all the YouTube recommendations, you get film recommendations, book recommendations, and stuff like that. So it's very interesting. Chandni, if you want to give any book, any YouTube recommendations firstly, then we'll come to book part also.
YouTube पे तो please हमें follow करें सबसे पहले. I'll be a little bad nasty here. Follow us for good content on history, on heritage, and occasionally on conversations like these between 20-21-year-olds discussing everything, history, movies, books. तो हमें follow कीजिए सबसे पहले तो. Next, channel per se to nahi, but I have a few books in mind. We were discussing कि historic fiction भी अगर हम बात करें तो. So this is a book that I've heard a lot about. This is Lahore by Manpreet Sodhi Somvereshwar. It's a historic fiction, and हमारे group में ही somebody had recommended that we must read this book. So this is one recommendation that I'd like to leave the audience with. So let's go with this, and we'll read this together.
Yeah, so maybe we'll take this book as our Karwaan book club book of the month next month. This month's book is Kabir by Purushottam Agrawal, and we will be having a Zoom chat with Purushottam Agrawal Sahab on 3rd of Feb or 2nd of Feb. The date is yet to be decided, but that's exclusive for the Karwaan book club members. So if you wish to join the book club, you will see an option of join just next to our channel's name on YouTube. Click on that, join. It's a very nominal charge per month for the book club and the film club. Join either or both of them. There are two membership tiers, and be a part. This month's film of the month is Vittorio De Sica's Bicycle Thief, and the book of the month is Kabir by Purushottam Agrawal. So we will be having a closed Zoom discussion with the author, and that will be released on YouTube, but a little late. So if you want to join in the live discussion and want to interact with the authors, book club is the place that you can be part of. And we'll take Manpreet's book also, because Manpreet Sahiba writes very well, and I've heard her Instagram reels and videos and interviews. So I'm yet to take up that book. I'll probably get this book ASAP, and then next month we'll talk about that book. Najia, what about you? What book do you want to recommend today, or YouTube?
Well, I would recommend the one I'm reading at the moment, The Last Mughal.
Wonderful
It's a
book.
wonderful book. It's
Excellent
a really wonderful book.
You
This
read
is
Delhi.
I haven't read it full. Half of it is left actually. So, but it's probably the best book you can get on 1857.
I agree wholeheartedly, Najia. बहुत ही अच्छी book है. You are there. And इससे ज़्यादा कोई writer अच्छा नहीं कर सकता.
हाँ, जिस तरीके से वो
लिखा है.
बयान करते हैं पूरा मंजर दिल्ली का, तो उस तरीके से तो you can actually feel as if you have been witnessing the entire scene.
दिल्ली 1857 पे दो और किताबें मैं रेकमेंड करता हूँ. मैं अभी मेरे को मिल नहीं रही, अगर मैं आपको दिखा भी पाता वो किताबें. एक है बिसीज्ड वॉइसेस फ्रॉम 1857 बाय महमूद फारूकी. तो महमूद फारूकी साहब बहुत बड़े दास्तान गो हैं. उनकी ये किताब है बिसीज्ड वॉइसेस फ्रॉम 1857 दिल्ली के ऊपर. और दूसरी किताब है जफर एंड द राज एंग्लो मुगल दिल्ली ऑफ 1857. तो अमर फारूकी साहब ने ये किताब लिखी. तो दो ये किताबें आप लोग जरूर पढ़ें. और विलियम डैलरिम्पल्स द लास्ट मुगल इज ऑफ कोर्स अ वंडरफुल रीड. तो ये तीन किताबें 1857 पे वी रेकमेंड फ्रॉम कारवान. इसके अलावा मैं कुछ फिक्शन आप लोग को बताता हूँ. इसमें से कुछ मैंने पढ़े हैं, कुछ मुझे पढ़ने हैं. तो हिस्टोरिकल फिक्शन तो खैर नहीं है ये, लेकिन इट्स अ नॉर्मल फिक्शन. आर के नारायण बैचलर ऑफ आर्ट्स. इट्स अ लाइफ स्टोरी ऑफ अ स्टूडेंट, और 3 चैप्टर्स इसमें हिस्ट्री क्लास के ऊपर ही हैं. तो दिस रेजोनेट्स विद मी. सो आई एम अ बीए ग्रेजुएट. तो और हम सभी हैं. आप लोग पढ़े इस किताब को, आर के नारायण की, जो हम अगली बार जरूर डिस्कस करेंगे. मालगुडी डेज वी कैन डिस्कस इन द नेक्स्ट वीक्स बैठक. इसके अलावा शकुंतला पर एक बहुत अच्छा फिक्शन है उत्कर्ष पटेल का, शकुंतला द विमेन रॉन्ग. And he was very kind enough to send me this book, and it's a wonderful read. It's available on Amazon, I think. So this apart from these, I'll name 2 or 3 more. I'm currently reading Madhulika Liddell's The Garden of Heaven. It's set in Delhi, Nadir Shah's invasion, and about the same time. And you can read this, or it's one of the best historical fictions. एक बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग फिक्शन आया है हिस्टोरिकल फिक्शन, क्योंकि हम टीपू के बारे में तो बहुत पढ़ते हैं, लेकिन उनके जो फादर हैं हैदर अली, उनके ऊपर कुछ नहीं है ज्यादा वर्क. तो एक फिक्शन आया है सुल्तान द लेजेंड ऑफ हैदर अली, पब्लिश्ड बाय पैन मैकमिलन, रिटन बाय शुभेंद्र. So this is a book on Hyder Ali that I think is very interesting. And the last book for today is Ari Gautia's The Thin Nai. It's set in it's Portuguese Pondicherry, so French Pondicherry, that you can read, and you'll see the creolization, the process of creolization in this novel, the similarities between cultures and everything. So you'll love this, because Pondicherry is a part of India that we really do not talk very often, and it's very neglected, unfortunately. But we had the honor of hosting Ari Gauthier on Karwaan for a lecture related to Tinnai and the and relation of French India and Pondicherry, and history behind it. So watch that lecture, and in this conversation we recommended three conversations: one with Ari Gauthier, one with Shyam Benegal, and Adur Gopalakrishnan. So I think with that thought, let's end this session for today. But Chandni and Najia, it was lovely having both of you. और Chandni तो हमारी co-host है. So maybe Najia will, maybe she'll also join us for the next conversation if Najia is free and if she's willing.
Sure, definitely.
बहुत मजा आया. We discussed Harry Potter and Ishan.
Next time we'll discuss War of Succession. So
yes,
stay tuned, people.
Yes, definitely. And Ishan must have felt a little left out in our Harry Potter discussion. So we'll take up another movie for sure. But आप हमें comments में बताइए which one we should take. War of Succession तो definitely we'll be discussing in our next Baithak. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
हाँ, और जरूर बताइए, जैसे उसने कहा कमेंट में लिखिए क्या आप सुनना चाहेंगे, किस पर डिस्कशन. जस्ट एंडिंग विद सम कमेंट्स. Saksham says I can bet on almost anything that you won't find a bigger nerd than me for comics and superheroes, reading and watching these since 1999. Around the World in 80 Days with Jackie Chan, and now they are making a series about it as well. Then Abhijat Singh Shakia's favorite book is The Gun Island by Amitabh Ghosh, and Murder on Oriental Express. Then Rituji Singh, very interesting conversation. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much. Saksham says Dastani-e-Gadar is also a good book. It talks about the Mughal remnants after 1857, like how Mughal courtiers and Mughal princes hit in plain sight, becoming veggie seller, beggars, and rickshaw pullers by Zahir Delvi. Yes, absolutely. It's translated by Rana Appa. He was a court poet of Bahadur Shah Zafar who lived through 1857 and saw it all shatter in front of his eyes. So I think it's the truest, unapologetic, and most abridged version of 1857. Section also says, inspired from the importance of Pondicherry has been getting lately. I'm starting working on a book on Daman, Diu and Dadra. Congratulations, Saksham, and हमें याद रखना आप अपने acknowledgement में कि it was this conversation. Let's end this conversation now. We'll meet next Friday at 9:30. Till then, keep reading, keep questioning, keep the critical analysis of your mind going on whatever is going around you. That's the best thing to keep your sanity alive in the times we are living in. All the best. We'll meet again.